Test. 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 MacBook. MacBook. Today we're going to get to work on yet another disgusting MacBook. And MacBook. In addition to getting to work on another MacBook, today we're going to also just happen to have something in stock. Work on yet
wasn't
another
expecting to have in stock for this long.
Considering the value of this
MacBook.
item, in addition to sheer rarity, another MacBook. Today we're going to also just happen to have something in
The
stock.
use
Work
cases.
on yet
For the
another
fuck Apple
disgusting
RAM.
Considering the value of this item,
MacBook.
in addition to
Sheer
this
rarity.
another
Is a
MacBook.
piece of history
Today
right
we're
now.
going to just happen to have something
64
in stock.
gigabytes.
For the fuck Apple RAM. Available exclusively
the value
on
of
store.
Sheer
Dot
rarity.
Rossman
Is a
Group.
piece of history right now.
.com. 64 gigabytes. Don't delay. For the fuck Apple RAM. Store.rossmangroup.com. The value on store. Store.rossmangroup.com. 64 gigabytes. Don't delay. For the fuck Apple RAM. Store.rossmangroup. That's strange. Much strangeness. Why is there double audio? Well, anyway, today we're going to get started on yet another disgusting MacBook. Before we get started on a MacBook, we're just going to feature this product here one more time. Here, we have a unique, one-of-a-kind product. This here is genuine, OEM, authentic, fuck Apple RAM. Not to be confused with Apple RAM, which you would never catch us selling. Here, on store.rossmangroup.com, not only do we have some cheap ultrasonic cleaners if you're willing to pick it up locally because we don't have a box for them. These are half price. Not only do we have quick iPhone 10 nozzles in stock for separating the board. Not only do we have a bunch of different cool, sexy products like our little laser pointer that's going to cure the UV paste flux, but we have this amazing product, fuck Apple RAM. 64 gigabytes of genuine fuck Apple RAM. Don't delay. Make this RAM yours today so that Lewis feels less stupid of putting about $1,000, $1,500 into stream upgrades and paying for yet another backup ISP to Time Warner. So, that being said, let's get into some fixes. We're going to fix some MacBooks. Because that's what we do here at Rossman Repair. We fix MacBooks. It says, mail-in estimate, A1502, USB ports not functional. Let's try and figure out why the USB ports on the MacBook don't work and see if we can solve it so that we can get paid some money. So, we're going to take this MacBook apart. I'm going to find myself some magnets. I like having magnets available. I've actually got my own stash of magnets today. Check it out. Yeah, you jelly? You jealous? Look at this beautiful stuff right here. Good. Got some magnets. Let's open up the bottom of this case here. This is my little friend. If you listen outside, you'll hear a bunch of drunk people, many of which sound like that meme that Frank Zappa wrote in 1979. In 1979, Frank Zappa wrote a song called Valley Girl, and in that song, he shows you what a Valley Girl sounds like. Or I guess he demonstrates, not shows you, hears you? Man, I need to get some sleep. My vocabulary is gone. Anyway, he shows... This is what most of New York City still sounds like. It has been 40 years, and this cultural cancerous phenomena has not left society. It's still here. Clear as day. And when this omnidirectional microphone does not have me yelling into it, and you listen real closely, outside, Valley Girl after Valley Girl after Valley Girl. If anything, it has spread, because now men also talk like that. Absolutely awful. How many... We've gone through so many different revolutions in fashion and music and philosophy and politics in the past 40 years. Yet the Valley Girl accent is still, sadly, a popular societal meme. Makes me sick to my stomach. But that's New York. Okay. Here we're going to take this off. We're going to hope that my little green cactus over here can fix the MacBook. This is my little friend. He helps me fix MacBooks. So the first thing we're going to do is confirm their problem. They said that this doesn't seem to have working USB ports. Now what I'm interested in is it not working USB data, not working USB power, or both. So if I can plug a hard drive in and I hear vroom, power is working. And some of them may not actually send power if they can't see SATA, but for like a quick second it will. And some of them, it's you get power, you don't get data. Some you don't get power at all, so you're not going to get data or power. But the first thing I want to do is kind of isolate that. So I'm going to get myself a USB device and go from there. Okay, I'm going to get myself Olga's test drive, and we're going to see if this test drive happens to work. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to plug in this drive, and we're going to see if it spins. Okay, let's get this open on the desk camera. Turn on my power supply. Ah, it's not supposed to show you the name. I didn't know you were already on. Oh well. Okay, we're going to turn this off and turn it back on again. Turn it off and then on again. Hold down the Option key. Okay, as can be seen, not only do we have USB power, because I can hear my drive spinning from here, but we also have data, because it sees the drives for me to boot up into. I'm going to try booting up into Sierra. Let's see how that works. Yep, this has definitely got some good power. I can hear that drive spinning at full speed. Good drive. Spin. As you can see, we're able to boot into an operating system. Now we're going to try the USB port on the other side and see if that can boot into an operating system. How do you feel about Apple AirPods? They sound like shit. And I don't hate them because they're Apple. I hate them because they're typical consumer audio trash. And I'm not saying that from an elitist standpoint, like, I only use $1,200 earbuds. I'm saying that it's really easy to buy stuff that sounds really good that's cheaper. I'm not saying that you need to buy some Wilson Audio Watt puppies. Go on Craigslist, find yourself a set of Vandersteen Model 2 that are used and a little scratched up for $350, and enjoy sound that's better than what most other people have for $10,000. Tell him, you don't have to spend a lot of money to get good sound, but AirPods are not where it's at. Now, when it comes to the Bluetooth space, if you want to have good microphone quality, easy pairing, good microphone quality, and good audio quality, I honestly don't know what the hell to recommend. I want to make myself a hybrid at some point. I want to make a Plantronics headset because they have some of the best microphones. Let me see. Yeah, this thing. So this is one of the best microphones, but this earpiece is, even when you get the in-ear monitor one, it doesn't really block things out much because this entire thing is not really meant to block out wind. So if you're on a bike, you're just going to hear constant wind, and this is useless. So what I wanted to do is create a hybrid where I cut this thing open, and then I attach a wire between that and a Shure SE425 bud, so that I have the microphone of this, and then the audio of this, and use one of those as my work headset, and then have a separate headset, which is, I think, just normal Shure SE425 or something, for my other usage. Okay, let's see if this drive is going to spin when we plug it into the other USB port. Hopefully it spins. Wow, can you hear that? Hopefully the DPA 4066 omnidirectional microphone that I'm wearing picks up that sound. Damn, I'm blown away by drive spin. Okay, this is also booting. This also boots, so this is likely fine. Now, if you look on the side of the machine, one thing you may notice, this may require a little bit of manual focusing, is that rice has been placed inside of our port. Why would you put rice in the HDMI port? What did this little MacBook do to deserve to have its face stuffed with rice? If you have a 4-year-old child, similar to this, because this machine is about 4 years old, if you have a 4-year-old child and your child says, "I'm full," do you shove its mouth open and stick it full of rice? Evil fuckface. You bastard! Abusing this little MacBook. Anyway, this works, so there's nothing for me to do. Most likely, it has some mild liquid damage because there's rice in it. So somebody liquid damaged it, then they went to Google, then they Googled dumb way to fix water damage that will not work, and then it said rice. And then they shoved their machine full of rice, and then they sent it here. So I'm going to guess that what this needs is an ultrasonic cleaning, and that's all, to get rid of any sort of liquid damage that could be causing intermittent USB. Because this is intermittent, most likely. And intermittent issues I don't really solve. Why does Lewis not solve intermittent issues? Because I don't have time to solve intermittent issues. I can't sit at my table and plug a USB in and out, and in and out, and in and out for 45 minutes. It requires a level of stamina that I just don't have until I finish drinking my kombucha. Either way, next MacBook. Nothing to see here. This MacBook is fine. An ultrasonic cleaning should get us on our way. Now to find where I put the screws to this MacBook. Ah, here we are. Right here. You may wonder, how did this MacBook get fixed so quickly? How did it work already? It fixed it. Have you seen the side-by-side store concept in the Discord? No, I was sleeping, and then I just woke up. Are you going to LTX 2019? I don't know. I have to see if I can make it. Business is growing at a fantastic rate. I have to make sure things don't get screwed up, because when you anytime you leave, the vultures come, and they try to pick everything away from you. So, for example, we had about $4,500 in fraudulent chargebacks due to the fact that Square is one of the worst merchant service providers that you could have for any sort of online business. For in-store swiping, it's great. For online, they would just let any credit card through. They don't give a shit. And they will expect you to be accountable for 100% of it, even if the reason is not, I didn't get what I wanted, or this vendor sucks, but just, oh yeah, I didn't want this transaction. All right, just give me the money back. And so they thought that they could steal $4,500 from me. They failed. They failed miserably. My Chase banker actually helped me very much with that. I got her about $80 worth of flowers 2 weeks ago to help me with that, because she may have been working a teeny bit outside of policy in order to ensure that the scumbags that work at Square Merchant Services, which they are scumbags, would have to pay for their results of their own crappy, shitty merchant services solutions rather than me. I really disdain that about startup companies that think that you don't have to have a relationship with anybody. I get it with companies like Facebook, Google Plus. Fine, you're expecting to make 50 cents off of every user per lifetime or so, and you need 5 billion users. You can't have a relationship with somebody. When you're getting $1,000 to $3,000 a month in passive income, and in 2 weeks of time you cannot pick up the phone, I called Square to tell them about this system. Isn't it interesting that in a 50-mile radius, there have been over 6 to 7 chargebacks for the exact same item in a 2-week time period. Wow! Same chargeback reason, same 50-mile radius, same item. I figured I'd call. But you can't, because when you call, they put you on hold for several hours. If you request a callback, they never call you back. And if you do call you back 2 weeks later, do you know what Square does? Do you know what those fuckfaces do? They say, I'm sorry, you put me on hold for 90 seconds to transfer me to Steve. I couldn't wait 90 seconds even though you waited 3 hours, so I'm going to hang up on you. So I take that, the way that I see that, the way that I imagine you see that is, oh, okay, Lewis, we no longer hold you liable for the fact that our system sucks. Feel free to not pay us. Feel free to freeze your old account and start a new one. That's what I take that as. But I could be open to the fact that Square maybe thought something else, but seeing as they never wanted to have a conversation with me, I can only assume that that's what they would want any sane person to do. But anyway, my point being, every time that you leave, there's going to be a bunch of vultures that just come into your business and take and take and take. Like there was also the fuck faces at the realty company that owned the building that are trying to push us into some $27,000 a month space. There's what else is there? There's always something. It's really interesting as a business owner where if you just take enough time off, or like that we got double billed by some other company that sells us some really expensive items, and we were very close to paying this double bill. It's if you take time off in a growth period, the vultures will just descend. And it's a lot of it. Sometimes it's just automated vultures. It's not even people who are out for you. It's just sometimes it doesn't even have to be, somebody who says I'm going to steal from Lewis. Sometimes it's just machine errors or, an idiot who hit Control S twice or something. But there's going to be vultures, and you got to make sure that those vultures get smacked and sprayed away, and that your little cactus is there to fuck them up. So I'm not sure if I'm going to make time for LTX. I think it would be nice to make time for LTX, but business has been going up and up and up, and I need to stay here with my little sword and go swoosh, swoosh, every time one of those fuckface vultures decides to come by and just decide, hey, we'd like to steal $4,500 from you today. Hey, we'd like to steal $2,000 from you today. Hey, we were idiots, but we're just going to hope Lewis doesn't notice, so he double pays this $1,200 bill. Yeah, I got to make sure. Chase Bank actually helped you. Yes, I was very kind. I was polite. I asked the right questions. I was not an asshole. I understood that the person that I'm talking to wants to leave at 6 o'clock the same way every other employee does, and they really don't want to deal with somebody who is impatient or making demands of them. I realize that Chase Bank employee likely has to follow a very rigid system, and I want to incentivize them to actually help me, which is why I got her $80 worth of flowers. Like she's middle-aged. She's over middle-aged. She's older than Jessa. Well, it worked. Spend 80, save 4,500. I'll take the deal. All right. Anyway, I'm rambling about ridiculous bullshit, but and that's the thing. Like the way you're supposed to handle it, You're supposed to file a police report, which the police are not going to fucking care about. You're supposed to figure out who the person is. I don't know, hire some fucking private detective to track them down. You're supposed to take them to court. You're supposed to visit them. Do I look like somebody who has time for all that shit? I trust that my merchant services provider are not a bunch of fuckfaces that don't care about coding good software because they're concerned about collisions and disruption and startup culture and all this other horseshit. I don't have time for that shit. If you fuck me, I'm going to go the way that may not necessarily be proper, but the way that makes sense. I'm not going to, do I want to go to court, file a police report, visit, private detective to figure out who the fuck you are that did that shit, or this merchant provider sucks balls, freeze account. Hey, merchant services provider that offers shit service, now you have a great incentive to figure out why your service allows that kind of shit through. Because you just lost $4,500. And then I move on with my life. Sometimes the solutions to these things are not easy. Or there's another one. This is a fun one. So another vulture. New York State Insurance Fund, one of my favorite vultures. So workman's comp insurance. So I am a legit business. I believe in paying. I pay my taxes. I pay for my licenses. I pay for my insurance. Here's a funny one. A few years, and this is again one of those things with the proper versus practical thing. This is probably why I'd never be able to run for public office, because if I did, they would just go through all these little things I did like this and say, do you want to deal with a man that escapes his chargebacks? Vote no on Prop Rossman. But so I pay my workman's comp bill. Now, workman's comp is different from something like internet or electricity or a vendor, because workman's comp is this mystical, magical thing that it doesn't actually exist in a tangible form. So if I'm paying for internet and I stop paying for the internet just stops working, and it's like, oh crap, I really should pay for internet. If I stop paying for Quicks and Quicks stop showing up when I run out, it's like, oh crap, I didn't pay for Quicks. With workman's comp, if they stop mailing you a bill, and then you don't pay the bill because you stopped receiving the bill because they never mailed it to you, or your postman stole it, or whatever the hell. It's not like there's something in the back here that's like, oh damn, wow, it's really hot in here today and it smells bad. The workman's comp must be missing. It's like you don't notice it like that. So I had a policy a few years ago get canceled for non-payment. And they said they sent a certified letter. That never got through. They said they were sending bills. That never got through. And the way New York City works is anytime there's the slightest infraction on you, they look to rape you for the maximum amount of money. They just want to sodomize and shove the sharpest X-Acto knife straight up your asshole so that they can so that they could fund all of the city's bullshit failed programs. Many of those bullshit failed programs are funded through nonstop ticketing, through nonstop fines, through, oh, you didn't have your business license number on your business card. That's $1,000 fine. I'm not kidding. I was this close to getting $1,000 fine. I negotiated it down to $250 after hours of wasted time for not having my fucking business license number on my business card. Because this is not good enough. Like, you can't see this shit right here. This is not good enough. But yeah, like the business license being clearly viewable with lighting. That's definitely not good enough. I'm clearly looking to scam my customers because I didn't read the page fucking 500-something in your shit regulations book to figure out that you need to have a license number on your fucking business card, you piece of shit inspector. But anyway, so my workman's comp policy just gets canceled. Poof. I wasn't paying my bill because I wasn't receiving my bill. I actually don't pay the bills. The old receptionist does because she checks everything. So nobody here, the bill just stopped coming. And then we stopped paying because it stopped coming. And since it's not something that we just, wow, there's a little less workman's comp in the air today. Did you pay the bill? It didn't get paid and even though it was a short period of time that it was not paid, that is like a $15,000 to $25,000 fine. $15,000 to $25,000 fine. Because the individuals at the company that make my insurance were too fucking incompetent to mail me my bill and were too fucking incompetent to send me this certified mail letter they claim they sent saying that they canceled my policy. Now, this is a he said, she said thing, so it's my word against theirs. Now, the proper thing to do as a business owner is to go to court, to fight back and forth, to waste hours of time, or the proper thing to do is just take out your checkbook and go, yeah, $15,000 is nothing to me. It's not like I started my business with no money. It's not like my family has been broke their whole life. It's not like nobody would ever give me a loan for even a quarter of what is in my business bank account. I'm just going to pull that $15,000 out of my ass for you, New York State. No, there's that. Yeah, that's the right thing to do. Or there's the me thing to do, which is I'm just going to get another policy from another company and tell you guys to go fuck yourselves. And when I get the fine, we're just gonna throw that in the bottom of the pile. Yeah. There's all these little things like this, these vulture-like things. So you're getting fined $15,000 because somebody stopped mailing you a bill. And good luck getting something like AutoPay to work. Oh, you want to go to these websites? Because you may go, oh, why don't you just go and get AutoPay? Try. Because here's the thing. When it comes to services that are optional, for example, do I want to sign up for Fios? Do I want to sign up for a Sprint Pro plan? Do I want to sign up for this gym? Oh, they make it easy. But when somebody knows that they've got you by the balls, that you fucking need their services, or else they will give you a website that looks like it was designed by GeoCities 1999, where nothing fucking works properly. But, yeah. So my point is, there's all these little things like this, these small aspects to running a business, where a vulture will just come by and see, that's a business owner. I can take a bunch of money from that person. Let's fuck them as hard as possible. And when your business is growing, when you're in that growth phase, it's much easier to have that happen because the people who are there are not going to look after it the same way that you would, and they wouldn't know how to handle those situations properly. And when I say properly, I don't mean just to take the X-Acto knife in the ass situation. I mean the way where you actually get to stay in business because you didn't let somebody else fuck you. Because if you're going to let somebody else fuck you on a regular basis like that, then you're not going to be able to be in business, and then you're screwed. And I like being in business. I think that I like serving my customers. I like getting positive reviews from people who I helped. I like hearing from people who I taught. I like being able to provide a proper living wage for 11 or so employees. I don't really want to give that up because somebody decided to be a fuckface. So I don't know how I got into this rant. I really don't know how this started. Anel's here to correct me when I said living wage. I think he's the lowest paid because he's the new guy. Is Anel the new guy or Hi the new guy? I actually forget. One of them's the lowest paid. Anyway, go figure he came in right as I say that. Workman's comp insurance ain't cheap. It's not a big deal. Like, this is the thing. I don't mind paying it. You want $300 to $700 every other month to have a business that has 11 employees. That's a drop in the bucket for me. So there's this idea that I would, go out of my way to save that. It's like, no. But you can't make that argument. Why did you not pay the bill? Because you fucking stopped mailing it to me, you fucking prick. But here's the thing. The people that you're going to go before to discuss this type of issue are individuals who work for the city. People who work for the city are funded by the city. The city is funded by fines. So imagine going to a Genius bar and then telling the Genius, I don't think that price is fair. Do you think he gives a fuck? Of course not. He doesn't care. He has you by the balls. You're not going to Now imagine that Genius was the only option in town. And you said, I don't think that's fair that you tried to screw me. Like the South Park episode goes. Yeah. All these little things like that. I'm sure that when I run for governor someday, somebody's going to dig up all this shit. Do you want to deal with Do you want to elect an employer who would have let his employees get hurt without coverage? Do you want to entrust somebody with fiscal responsibility who lacks the responsibility when it comes to their own merchant account? Vote no on Proposition Rossman. This ad was funded by People for Bill de Blasio. That's how politics works as well. What they do is they find people who are squeaky clean, but they're squeaky clean because they've never tried to do anything or they've never accomplished anything with their life, and they get elected. Whereas the people who actually did something, who have been through these type of situations where they had to kind of like thread the needle halfway and maneuver themselves so that they wouldn't get fucked in the ass by technicalities, are not able to actually... they're the people who are not able to go anywhere because somebody's going to say, in 1994, you said this. Do you stand behind your statement, sir? It's like, yeah, but I was 4 years old back then. Do you stand by your statement, sir? Yeah, but I was 4 years old back then. In 2015, you decided to not pay for coverage for your employees. How do you feel about that? Well, I actually did want to. They just stopped mailing it to me. And then Fox News. Liberal media tries to destroy and maim individual that happy little business owner. Then MSNBC. Business owner decides business owner fucks over employees. Proletariat. The proletariat come out and protest. And then they'll be like, and nobody will actually give a fuck what actually happened because then you'll just have like two sides of people just reading the news and listening to whatever the fuck that's fed to them. And I'm feeling overly cynical today. I'm feeling very overly cynical right now. In 2012, you fired a single mom on a day before Christmas. Would you take away welfare benefits from single moms when it's cold outside a day before Christmas? Well, she actually didn't. Yeah. Oh, man. My journey to being a politician, I'd probably jump off a bridge. My. That would be fun. If I ever wanted to really hate my own life, like just do something that would cause me to want to jump off a bridge at 19.99999 miles per hour, I would probably try to run for office or become a politician. That would be a miserable, miserable life. Speaking of miserable life, A1534 that takes 500 milliamps, 20 volts, but gives no screen. Hi, Paul. Ooh, retina, no power. Yoink. I'll take a little bit of you. A1534, question mark folder. Fuck that. Ooh, no power. I'll take a little bit of you. Yoink. You're the one with no schematic, but I'll take this over to the one with the schematic with the question mark folder any day. Yoink. What do we have here? A1707, liquid damage, no power. I'll take you. A1707, liquid damage. Keyboard trackpad not working. I don't want to replace the keyboard or trackpad. Fuck that. Random. Much random. So, certified letter should have record of delivery for what little that's worth if such a letter was indeed sent. Yeah, that's okay. But again, did it actually get delivered? Or did my postman, who 5 times last year lost an ultrasonic cleaner because they couldn't be fucking asked to scan the package before they put it in the truck, say it was delivered when it wasn't? Was the certified mail letter that the question of whether or not it was delivered cost me about $15,000 to $25,000? Was that actually delivered, or did that go to the candy shop the same way that I get mail for Black Seed Bagels, the same way that I get UPS packages for people who used to live upstairs, the same way that I get deliveries of credit card readers for the deli down the street because the post office cannot fucking deliver shit properly? Here's the thing. Can you imagine living in a world where if you're doing everything right and abiding by the law and doing what legislation or the legislature tells you need to do and paying the fines that you need to pay, can you imagine a world where a postman, being an idiot, can cost you $15,000? I want you to think about that for a moment. I want you to think about every single time that you've been to a post office. I want you to think about every single time you've opened your mailbox and gotten somebody else's mail. I want you to think about every single time an Amazon package was lost because the post office ate it or something during Christmas. Now, imagine those experiences. Imagine a world where if that happens to you, that experience can actually cost you $15,000 to $25,000. Certified mail, my fucking cock and balls, my friend. My cock and balls. Okay. That's a bullshit random right there. See, I put fucked up machines in Paul's queue every now and then. Big deal. Delivering certified mail at random concerning account closures that will cost Lewis $15,000, that's a fucked up kind of random. I don't do that. I don't play that shit. Maybe if I was the postman for the Apple Store. Okay. Next machine. We're going to get our recording on. Audio sync. What did she do to get fired? Steal. So her job was to do inventory and to ship. And I would ask her, do we have this much of this? And she would say, oh, no, we didn't get it. I'd say, did we receive this in? And she said, no. And I said, so if I walk over to that slot and I count what's in there, you're going to say that we don't, I'm not going to have it. And she goes, of course not. And she was always on her phone constantly. And I remember having this conversation with her where I said, listen, I had my headphones on when I was in school. I realized that this was back in 2012. So I said, I realized that the $16 an hour that I pay you is not enough for you to not look at your phone. The same way that in school, there is no way in hell that I was not going to watch 24 or listen to music in class. I had my headphones and went around everything. What I'm asking of you is the basic respect that just the same way that I ran my headphone wire up my shirt and around here and did this so that my teacher couldn't really tell that I was ignoring him, I would like you to have the basic respect for me to, at the very least, again, I know $16 an hour in 2012 is not enough for you to, that's not enough for you to not, do stuff with the phone. Can you at least not yell? Or when you're having a dramatic conversation, yell so that I can hear it from up here, so that I can clearly tell you're not doing any work, you're sitting with your feet up. And she says, okay. That never happened. And then I wound up with, I was buying stuff from Jack Telecom at the time, and we got a bunch of iPad screens in and iPhone screens in, and there were 15 that were missing. And she said they were missing. And this is one of the things where I said, are you absolutely sure? Because I checked inventory, it wasn't there. And she said it wasn't there. So I almost got Susan from Jack Telecom fired from complaining, from saying, I'm going to file a claim on you, I'm going to do this, that, and the other. You need to replace this merchandise that I didn't get. And I did that based on trusting the individual who I was paying to do inventory. And she did not count the packages properly because she was on her fucking phone. I checked my cameras and I saw that when that entire stack came in, she was checking the inventory with this hand, and she was doing this, and then taking her phone off and staring at it every time a picture got sent. Again, I didn't say don't use the phone. I just I try to make it easy because I realized what it was like to be a kid in school and hate it. I will do the shitty job at Modell Sporting Goods. I will put the price tags on the basketballs for $6.17 an hour. I will wear your stupid fucking jersey that's polyester in the middle of summer. I will even answer the phone. Welcome to Modell Sporting Goods, your hometown sporting goods store. How may I assist you today? Cringe. But the one thing I ask, let me wear my headphones. I don't care if you do that shit. Do your job. So that person wound up getting fired. And I think it was fair because I almost got somebody fired as a result of them not doing their job. Because if I make an order for $70,000 or $60,000 using a line of credit that's not mine, and I don't get a lot of the stuff that's in that order, I'm going to argue and advocate for myself, even if it's going to get somebody fired. And if I do that based on incorrect information, you're out of here. Okay. You need to sign for certified. That doesn't really matter. So let's say that you sign for your... So let's say that somebody says, walks up to you and goes, mail for you. And while you're dealing with a customer, you're like, all right, let me see, sign. That's all it takes for the deli to sign for it. If you can pull the signature, you have a great case. Yeah, but that's the thing. So I have to pull the signature for mail from a year ago because the fine and all that other crap came a year and a half later. I have to pull the signature and get a copy of the signature. And then there's the whole thing of signatures. Okay, when was the last time that you had a sign when you were filling, you were doing something with a credit card? Does that signature that you left in that little pad at CVS look even remotely like your handwriting? Nah. And I will read the chat, and then I will get to fixing this board before I do more cynical raging. I have to be done with cynical raging so I can actually get something done. Okay. I'm 14, do repairs at school using Lewis's method. That's awesome. The Modell Sporting Goods answer needs to be on the soundboard. No, that traumatizes me. Even if you're a tiny shop, inventory system with a scanner will save you lots of money. Because again, a human is going to use the scanner. And at the end of the day, if the human is an idiot, then the scanner doesn't matter. Scanner does not increase the IQ of the individual using the scanner. We get stuff that's supposed to be signed for all the time from FedEx, and it always says signed by signature on file. Oh yeah, and that was this 1 week that our FedEx guy went on vacation, and we had a FedEx guy forging our signature. Oh, my favorite. Okay, check this out. So we get a phone in from some UP, and by the way, let's have a poll. Do you think it is morally or ethically correct for me to release the photo of this individual? Because I took a nice high-resolution photo of this UPS delivery man. So there's a guy that's worried about his phone. He said he sent it in for data recovery. We finally received the phone late after several weeks, and the package is opened. The UPS man delivers the phone. It's not a phone. It's a padded envelope with what I imagine was at one point a small box in it, and it's all ripped open and there's no phone inside. So the receptionist is just about to take it in like that, and Steve was looking out the corner of his eye, and he said, "Wait a second, that looks funny." He walks over, and he says, "Wait, don't sign for that." And he sees that there's a hole in the box. So he asked the UPS guy, he said, "Do you know what went on with this? Because there's a hole in the box, and there's clearly no phone in here." So we looked up the customer name from the name on the label. He says there's no phone. He was sending in a phone for data recovery. He was worried about it not getting here. The box has a hole in it. The envelope is ripped open, all this stuff, and there's nothing inside the envelope. So we tell the UPS guy, "I obviously cannot accept this package as is. Can you mark this as, not delivered or lost or something?" And he's looking at us like this. And as he's looking at us like this, he's like, "I don't think I can do that. I'm going to mark it as delivered." And then then Steve is like, "No, you can't do that." And then the guy's like, "Okay, fine. I'll mark it as, tampered with or something like that." So then we look at the tracking number at the end of the day. This fuckface marked it as delivered with no issue. And we called UPS, and then UPS said that, "No, it looks like you signed for it in perfect condition." I forget what happened. That's the thing. It's not even like if I feel bad. I can't even... There's nothing I can do to actually... There's nothing that I can do to fix that situation. Even if I wanted to take out my credit card and say, "Listen, I know it's not my fault that UPS fucked up, but you sent something to my business, let me help you out." Because that was data recovery. I can't buy back your memories. I can't recover your photos from an empty envelope. I can recover them from an iPhone in an envelope. Made me sick. Now, if you can file a police report, but again, that's where that's going to go. That's where that's going to go. So I took a pic of the delivery guy, and I took a pic of the package. And I've seriously been thinking about posting that, because that pissed me off. That was like a year or two ago. But I was thinking about posting that. This UPS guy will steal your phone and fuck you and lie about it. Anyway. Felony to harass a postal worker. It's a felony to steal my shit. Also, that's a UPS worker, not a postal worker. It's been about a year and a half since that happened. Yeah, a year and a half, and I have not posted it. But I feel like I made the wrong decision. Did UPS help you at all? Yes, UPS helped me as much as Comcast or Spectrum will help you when you're having problems with your internet, and you call and get Tier 1 service. I'm not saying that the police are not good people. I'm saying that in a city like New York, where you got 8 million people in a space the size of Knoxville, Tennessee, many of which like to shoot each other, stab each other, fight each other, drive like crazy people, that when you have UPS guy, lost package kind of shit, that is so at the bottom of the pile. That is more bottom of the pile for the NYPD than A1534, taking 20 volts, 500 milliamps, no image on screen, and no chime is bottom of the pile from Paul and I. Okay. Now, that being said, let's get to actually fixing something. Holy shit. No more ranting, no more time wasting. And that's one of the things that it's really hard to get this stuff into the heads of people that have not run a business, who don't, because even the people who are not very smart, who have run a business for a long time, they will know intuitively how to deal with a lot of these situations. Like, they will understand that there are vultures that are going to be trying to, do things like this. Like the small business owners that I know, they're not going 300 miles away, hiring a private detective, filing police reports, staying in a hotel in another state, hoping they're going to catch somebody because the local PD in some really small town in Pennsylvania definitely has all the tools available to them to, track somebody down based on the VPNs they use, that their internet patterns, while filing fraudulent chargebacks. They know that that's not the way you do it. What you're going to do is you're going to call up your merchant services provider and said, "I configured your fraud detection settings the way that you suggested. This happened. What do you plan on doing?" And when they say, "We don't plan on helping you," you open up that new bank account. You close that old bank account, and you tell them to go fuck themselves. Small business owners that have to deal with this stuff on the regular, they have this intuitive sense where they know that they're about to get fucked. And small business owners, especially in New York City, even the ones that are not very smart, they have a very attuned sense on how to not be fucked. And it's one of those things where you can take that to you anywhere in the world. If you've run a business in New York City on your own, especially if you started it with very little to no money, and you can this skill set here, You can take this skill set anywhere in the world. You're a master level avoiding getting. You're a black belt and not getting fucked, essentially. All right, so let's see this MacBook. So this MacBook, they say, doesn't turn on. I'm not sure I necessarily believe that, because as you can see, this is an 820-3332 board. This is the 2012 machine, where the issue with it is that the buck converter starts to come desoldered from the machine, because on the newer machines, they put supports for the board so it doesn't flex. This board has no supports in it, so it flexes, and right around this fault line. So very often you either have GPU vCore is gone, or you have beeping due to RAM issue. Now the first thing that strikes me as strange here, and what's really cool is I can do zoom now. Check it out. By the way, this lens that I got here was $500, and it was worth every penny, because that is not digital zoom, that is optical zoom. It is so sexy. All I got to do now is get a better stand for the camera so that it doesn't constantly shake back and forth as I move the desk. See this? I didn't touch this yet, but these ramblings on the third or fourth channel. No, I think keeping on the live one is good. There's some stuff that I just don't think really needs its own title and its own video. Some things it's just best not to draw too much attention to. Okay, so it's 10 to 12. Why aren't you out having a burrito or playing with your kitties? And I don't want to have to fix a MacBook. Be safe, miking home. I have to fix a MacBook. I actually have to fix many MacBooks. If you didn't notice, I got new lighting up here. So new LED ring light. I got a new $500 lens. I got a new $150, $200 LTE modem. I got a new $90 a month LTE internet connection. I got, I got a new setup for the cooling of this. I got a new camera for Steve's bench for about $500. I got a new $5,000 PCI Express card from Ace Labs for PC3000 for SSD recovery so that we could do more videos. So I'm allowed to upgrade my tools. I can do that. I can get some nice little upgrades and treat myself. But if you treat yourself, you don't put it on a credit card and hope that it gets paid off later. You just work and pay for it. So that's how I stay out of debt. I work for the thing. But it's worth it. Because you may think, Lewis, it's 11:56 on a Saturday night in the East Village and you're not out getting drunk or sleeping. But what I can say here is, look at that image at 135 millimeter. Isn't that pretty? That's totally worth staying at work till midnight. That is beautiful. Having new toys. So see this? Look at that. This was unplugged already. So I already know that somebody fucked with this. And I kind of wonder if the keyboard is corroded, which it's not. And I also wonder if the reason it wasn't turning on is because this keyboard was not plugged in. So let's plug this in, and not just plug it in, but let's close the latch, because remember, on this machine, the power button itself is going to be on the keyboard. So if the keyboard is not plugged in, then it's not going to turn on. So let's see what we get now. I really got to get a better setup for having the camera over my head. So I have one of these monitor stand mounts that I'm hanging a camera mount on, so that the camera will be above my head. Let's see if I can show you without messing up everything here. So this is the camera mount. This is not the steadiest thing in the world. Yeah, it's hanging from the desk. It's not exactly the nicest. But I got to get something to make that a little steadier. The more you upgrade, the more you realize how much more shit you got to upgrade. Okay, so let's see if this thing turns on, which I bet it will. I'm being a Sony fanboy here. I know. I get it. But I really love this lens. This is just beautiful. It could just be because I'm a noob that doesn't know enough about cameras to have an informed opinion, to know that says something else that's better. But for somebody who hasn't seen better, or for somebody who's been using this kit lens that only goes up to 50 millimeter before you run out of zoom, this is just beautiful. It's absolutely... It's riveting. Okay, we plug it in. It's taking 400 milliamps and then turning off. It's also clicking. You hear that? It's probably a clicking hard drive. This is interesting. So this is not going to be my U8900 problem, because the U8900 problem would simply keep it from turning on with an image on the screen, but it would turn on. And also we have clicking. I'm very curious about this clicking, especially since the computer does not have a hard drive. That would be really interesting if Apple managed to make this thing. Oh, a new mic capsule. Yep, I forgot about that too. I got myself a nice little mic capsule for the Sennheiser. I got the E865. So that's, is the new lens why the video looks so damn crisp in the last stream? It wasn't just the lens, but it's also the lighting. So I have a light mounted to the lens. The light mounted to the lens means I can use a lower ISO. Lower ISO means less graininess. But also, I am recording I'm streaming at a higher bit rate. So usually I stream at 4 megabit, and here I'm streaming at 14 megabit per second. And I'll be able to lower the preset from very fast to fast or even medium once I get the proper water cooling set up to replace this Enermax garbage that I have here. This is my good luck charm right here, so we're just going to keep this in the shot. I don't know if you could hear my fan just rev up, but as soon as I said Enermax garbage, the fan on the Enermax garbage just revved up. This does not have edge bonding taken off of everything, Tim. I try to avoid taking those jobs in. I prefer to send them to you. Should have paid your light bill. You bought an outfit. Should have paid your light bill. You purchased an outfit. Scoto says stories out of LA where a house was robbed for $5,000 worth of electronics. The victims found like GPS coordinates of their stolen iPad. The police said we don't bother with that kind of stuff. Yeah. What are the police for if not for that? Why don't you get service? Because I don't have somebody who will give me service. I do now. So the T-Mobile LTE is not bad, but it's only 20 gigabytes, so the LTE is virtually useless. One of the days Time Warner was down, in a few hours we used half a gig. You blaze through that if you have an office with 11 employees that are Googling stuff, looking stuff up, etc. That just gets blazed through like nothing. So that stuff is only going to work as a very, very temporary backup. So the idea is if Spectrum has packet loss for a minute or two at a time or 5 minutes and it messes up the stream, it'll still work for that few minutes. Or credit cards will still be able to be processed, but I imagine I'm going to blow through that 20 gigabytes like no one's business. And I'm going to get a nice big overage from T-Mobile. Someone said Lewis cashing in YouTube checks. Indeed. I'm a multi-millionaire on the YouTube. I am spinning in money. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. $1,000. That's like half. That's half my. Actually, no. That's almost half what I pay for internet to be able to stream on YouTube. Ha! Lois, you're rich. Yes. $480 for internet plus another $80 to $100 for LTE. Keep your day job, boys and girls. If somebody tells you to get into doing YouTube to get rich, just you ask them, okay, are you doing it? And if they're not doing it, then don't do it. I think one of the things that used to drive me crazy is when people would tell me what I should do or what I should invest in when they were not actually invested in the thing that they were telling me to invest in. That drives me nuts. Kind of like the Jon Stewart, Jim Cramer conversation from about 10 years ago Jon Stewart just shoved the spiked tumbler right up Jim Cramer's ass. If you watch anything in the next week that's on mainstream media, because watch the Jon Stewart interview with Jim Cramer from about 10 years ago, because he just shoved the spiked tumbler right up Jim Cramer's ass. It was so good. Yeah, absolutely fuck people who decide that they are not going to invest in the things that they're telling you to invest in. Awful creatures. Okay, so we're going to take this board out of the case and try to get an idea of what it is that's making a clicking noise. So I've taken the hard drive out of the case, so it may be the hard drive that's making a clicking noise, but we're not going to know since I've taken it out of the case. So remember, hard drives can click when they go bad. Do you think this hard drive has gone bad, little fellow? Hey, be nice to it. It didn't choose to be in a MacBook. Frosty says someone stole my debit card and purchased 3 iPhone 6s and 1 iPad Air. They have been arrested. That's awesome. See, I like to hear success stories like that. A little bit of optimism. I'm just kidding. Just because I have crap experiences doesn't mean yours are going to be as bad. Why not get a T1? Are you kidding? You mean that thing that's 1 megabit down and 1 megabit up? Are we in 1999 where people still think that's relevant? What? 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 Tell me you're joking. Anger issues! Indeed. Many anger issues. Okay. T1s are still very popular. I mean, so is Internet Explorer 6. If you walked into a Chase Bank in the middle of nowhere recently, doesn't mean it's a good thing. All right. So we're going to plug this in, see what we get. Why are my meters not working in this application? Vegas. Hello. Meters. Interesting that Vegas is not giving me my meters. Okay, I'll use Open Broadcaster's meters then. Not here. Okay. Silly me. I was using my eyes instead of my... I was using my ears instead of my eyes. Okay. This is where this lens is going to come in really handy again. Ready, everybody? Okay, we're going to do a little bit of zooming. What did you do, dum-dum? What did you do, dum-dum? Oh, wow. Just when I said it's fun to show people how to do stuff in videos. You know why this board has this mess on it? Right over here? Because somebody watched a video of mine. What did you do? My God, you're supposed to reflow it with solder, not yogurt. What is this? What is this? What did you do? Do not use yogurt as solder. Okay, we have to check the notes in this ticket. What's going on here? Okay, so this person also did not fill in the thing on the site. Not surprising. If you're dumb enough to do this, you're probably dumb enough to not follow instructions. So let's see, is this fixable or is this just beyond? I suppose there's one way to find out here. So so we have a couple of bridges. Let's go over the bridges. And maybe I'll sell one of them to you. Speaking of things that I should sell to you that are similarly useful as a bridge, have you checked out our collection of Fuck Apple RAM? For a limited time only, we have for sale genuine OEM Fuck Apple RAM on store.rossmangroup.com. Don't delay. Check out and get yourself some Fuck Apple RAM today. 64 gigabytes of DDR4, only $400. Do not confuse Fuck Apple RAM with Apple RAM. They are very different. So, I'm going to open up a schematic and a board view for the 820-3332, and we're going to go from there. Alright, so the first thing that we've got that's messed up over here is this. So this over here is tied together. So what is that? That is going to be PP3v3 GPU, graphics DM sleep. So let's see, R8974. Now, great. Well, that's tied to ground. What else do we have here? So we have bridging on the third and the fourth and the fifth pin here, and the second and the third pin from the top over there. So what are those for? Graphics IMVP boot, graphics I'm on. All right, and what else? So let's see what the third and fourth and the bottom are. GPU vCore sends, GPU... Oh, Jesus. Okay, so I don't think he sent 12 volts to anything that's expecting 1. At this point, I think that it's stopping itself before it kills itself, which is a good thing. So we are going to turn this thing on, and... let's see if we can fix. So I'm going to find myself a donor. We are just going to scrap this and start fresh. Excuse me. Sample. Okay, so here we have a board that I am going to use to scrape everything, to take all these things off. Lewis, did you ever get your pfSense VPN set up? No, because, well, funny you ask. So the day that I was going to go through the emails to find somebody to do the VPN, because I got a bunch of emails from a bunch of really nice people, is the day that the Time Warner went down again. My PBX died, and I spent 14 hours up until 5 in the morning chasing a lowercase r that was supposed to be capitalized that was keeping me from getting service. And after that, I just, yeah. I rage quit. I promise I'm going to get back to that. I do want to do that, and I appreciate all the people who emailed me. And I do plan to pay whoever it is that I wind up choosing. No free stuff. Okay. Damn, I have so many chats to follow now. There's a Discord one, there's a Vimeo chat, there's a Twitch chat, a YouTube chat, Streamlabs chat. Oh, and apparently people actually leave donations when I'm offline, so I got to start reading those on stream, reading those questions. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to remove this stuff. Anything that looks skeptical to me, I'm going to remove, and we're going to start from scratch. There we go. We have a Streamlabs one from a few days ago. Lewis, have you considered starting a political channel or becoming more involved? No. Meh. No. A big meh. I'm going to try to come up with an intelligent answer to why I say meh. I don't want to wind up saying something stupid, so I'm going to try and think before I say why I would never want to do that. Okay, so I think a lot of the fun in having this channel and in having the forum or finding people who take this stuff, this information, and they do something with it, part of the fun is that you're kind of adding something to the world, right? So if there is something that's in a garbage somewhere, and you take that device from a garbage or a recycling center, that's something that was just completely written off by the world, you're not going to get more than 5 to 10% back of it in raw materials at best. And you teach somebody how to take that thing and then turn it into something that has a value of $100 to $2,000. You've added some value to the world, right? So I took something that was dead, and And there's also the educational value. So if I sit here and I teach you how to do something, I'm not necessarily like there's no compromise. The only compromise is my time. It's not somebody else's money. It's not somebody else's opportunity or whatever. It's really just my time that I spend. So let's say now a lot of the political arguments, a lot of them boil down to how it is you're going to organize existing resources. Should a corporation keep more of their money, or should they have to pay more in tax? If they pay more in tax, what does that tax go to? Should you be allowed to pollute here or not pollute? A lot of the things is essentially, a lot of it is discussion of how to organize existing resources. So let's say that you put in the fight, you put in the effort, and you actually get things to work according to your specific ideological worldview. Let's say you win, and you convince everybody that you're right and they're wrong with logic and reason and facts. At the end of the day, even if you actually did that at the great cost to yourself of everybody hating you, you've really only said, okay, this is how we're going to organize the existing resources. But that's just not as much fun to me as actually adding something. So, if somebody watches this and if somebody watches my streams and finds, 10,000 of these machines that need U8900 fixed, that's resources that have been added back to the world. We're not talking about how to organize something that already exists. And that's far more fun to me. And I also kind of enjoy teaching people how to think for themselves rather than teaching people how to see the world according to my worldview. Every now and then I like ranting about something that bothers me, but a lot of I feel like I shouldn't. I'm going to try to rephrase this. The way that a lot of the political channels come off to me is they are trying to make you believe their worldview. So I don't think they're trying to get you to think. They're trying to get you to think like them or to see the world through their ideological lens. I would rather show you, here is how to think analytically. Here is how to solve a problem. You can use this rubric that I use for solving problems to solve many different types of problems, and that you don't have to solve them with my ideological bent. The other thing is when it comes to most of those debates, or the things that I see online, it's really easy to make things look different than they are when you have... How do I put this? Yeah, I'm just going to get rid of all this stuff over here. Start fresh. So let's take an argument that I am sensitive to. So, I don't pay close to minimum wage. I usually avoid it and so people are very often surprised when I'm not in support of a higher minimum wage or even much of a minimum wage. So, I used to have a job where I made less than minimum wage, but I really got to skyrocket forward a lot faster because at 17 and 18 years old, I was in the room with, the Ricky Begans, the Phillips Combs, the Sam Fields, the Roy Hendricksons of the world, who were top of their craft at what it is they did, and I got to learn a lot. I want other people to have that opportunity. But I digress, that's not the point. So let's say you're having the minimum wage argument. I would be open to the argument that a higher minimum wage is not going to be good, even though I would like to pay people that work for me more than minimum wage, because I want that ability to get opportunity open to people who started where I did. Now, I remember hearing this one argument, and this is a few years ago. I don't have the exact figure in my head. It was something like the only people affected by minimum... It's 2 to 4% of the population that is affected by minimum wage for longer than 1 year. So the idea is a minimum wage does not affect more than 2 to 4% of the population for more than a year at a time. And the narrative being put forth there by the anti-minimum wage hike people who are saying it's bad for the economy, blah, 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 is that, it's not really that big a problem. It only affects 2 to 4% of the people for more than a year. Most people get a better job afterwards. It's not a big... But... And technically that is a fact. Well, that would have been a fact. Again, I'm not looking it up right now. But let's just say for the fuck of it that is actually a 110% true fact. I don't care. Now, somebody may say, well, why don't you care about facts? Why is a fact not important to you? Are you into alternative facts? Do you not care about facts? Well, no, because facts can be used to tell the story that you want to be told. So, for example, let's say that is true. Let's say that minimum wage does not affect people for more than 1 year. It doesn't affect more than 2 to 4% of the population for more than a year at a time, meaning that most people are getting new jobs. So the idea being put forth there is that minimum wage doesn't matter. Well, I remember working at a Model Sporting Goods, minimum wage, absolutely god awful, one of those miserable jobs you get when you're a teenager. And I made $6 an hour, which was minimum wage back in 2005 in New York City. Now, minimum wage being $6 an hour, it sucks. Now, they had a union, and this is one of the things that made me I think it was my first hint of becoming anti-union, was that you would get a raise of 17.5 cents after working there for about 2 or 3 months because you would enter the union. The problem is that the union dues were so high that in order for the union dues to counteract the 17.5 cent raise that you got, you had to work like 70 or 80 hours a week. It was something ridiculous. But my point is, technically, at that point, I would not be considered to be an individual making minimum wage, because minimum wage is $6 an hour, and I'm making $6.175 an hour. Now, is my life going to be considerably different because I make an additional 17 cents now than I did before? Am I going to be able to afford transportation to take care of a child or to buy food that I couldn't before? Am I going to be out there in fancy restaurants because I make this additional 17.5 cents? No. It's completely negligible. 17.5 cents in 2005 means absolutely nothing. But I would be removed from the statistic. So that statistic, while technically a fact, allows somebody to make it seem like minimum wage affects less people than it actually does. And it's easy to have facts that suit your own specific narrative in order to get something done, and then you. So I'm not really that. Doing this stuff is kind of fun. I would much rather be in a room with a bunch of people who disagree with me politically, but who really enjoy adding to the world's resources or adding to the pool of humanity's resources, rather than being in a room full of people whose viewpoints politically align with mine, but who are just focused on redistributing or creating policy that redistributes what already exists. I have a lot of respect for people who are adding something to the world. I don't have a lot of respect for people who are simply pencil pushing or moving around the things that already exist. And not even, I shouldn't even say that because it makes it sound like, because organizing is a job. But for people who are just saying how something should be organized and then give the work off to somebody else. It doesn't do much for me. This stuff is far more fun. And I would rather... Yeah, I'd definitely rather share space and everything with people who want to see the world become better, who want to see it go up, regardless of whether it's via their political viewpoint or somebody else's. And then there's the whole thing where everybody thinks you're evil if you disagree with them, and no thanks. And anytime I wind up getting linked to one of the political channels and I watch and I listen, I hear a lot of people saying a lot of things that are likely facts, but when I really dig into it and do the research, I realize that the facts that I was told, while technically being true, while being a fact, it doesn't really matter. If because the way I see it is, there are certain times where if you go too far in one direction politically, you are legitimately going to wind up making bad decisions or messing things up beyond repair. But if you really want things to get better, then you're going to focus on making as many people as possible able to add to the world's resources rather than simply moving around what's already there. Get as many people as you can, and even in this, this doesn't matter. This is MacBook repair. I mean, I'm not fooling myself into thinking that this is something that is a big concern for society. But the thing is, I'm a small fish, small nobody in the world, and this is my little corner of it. So what I do is in my little corner of the world, how can I add as much as possible? How can I make sure there's as much resources in the world as possible added to my little corner? How can I make the soldering tweezers the least bent as possible? That's not happening in my corner. And I think if everybody does that, if everybody focuses on how can I add rather than how can I change, that things will get better. And the other thing about the political people is that it's really easy to make arguments about how, how to organize things. It's hard to actually make something or do something. Like, it would be really easy for somebody to make the argument that public education is better than private education. Or it would be really easy for somebody to present the argument that charter schools are better than public schools. There's enough information out there to support either argument. And even if you do wind up finishing the argument, But that's easy to do. The hard thing to do would be to actually create educational resources yourself in order to educate people who are currently not being educated because the educational resource for this specific piece of information doesn't exist. Yeah. I'm probably just repeating myself at this point, but... Okay, so let's see what we have over here. So there's 2 resistors up there that I gotta grab. If everybody were involved in doing and not, cheering on MSNBC and Fox or their favorite YouTube political person, if everybody were actually adding to the pot, then maybe we would have less things to fight over. You know what I'm saying? Because maybe if there's more resources available all around, we're not going to be having these huge fights about how to distribute or how to deal with the resources that currently exist. And when I'm 95 years old and I'm looking back on my life and thinking about what it is I'm proud of and what it is I regret, I would much rather have known that I spent my time, making things work again, or teaching other people how to do that, or showing people that, turning on an analytical mindset doesn't require that you be a genius that got good grades, but just you have a little bit of zest for being a detective. That's much more rewarding to me than knowing that I helped get Larry Sharpe elected. Not that I don't like Larry Sharpe, but I think Larry Sharpe was a good candidate. I like Larry Sharpe, but if I had to choose, I think this does far more good. Or that could just all be a cop-out because I live in New York City and expressing my political views would get a boulder tossed through my window. There's that as well. Is it me or is audio sync off? Dude, it's a board. The board doesn't talk.
Hi, I'm Lewis. My audio doesn't sync right.
Like, what the fuck are you talking about? You're staring at a board. No need to read anything from me. I just enjoy watching you work and feel good about supporting your work. Thank you, Sean Roberts. I would vote for you. No, you wouldn't. You would throw a boulder through my window. It's okay. I don't know you as a person, so I'm not offended. But you would likely throw a boulder through my window. Just saying. I watch the news. Is this the same board? Oh, it is, but it looks like it's laid out differently. Interesting. Thank you, Sean. I really appreciate that. E.C. Morgan says I'd vote for you while throwing a boulder through your window. What if that's what I do? What if that's how I run? What if I just say, throw one boulder through my window in exchange for every vote? For each person who votes for me, you can throw a rock at me. Hey, is Paul S. here? Paul S. is here. Paul, how's it going? Paul, I got some new stuff for your queue, my friend. Oh, you missed it before. That's fine. You didn't need to watch that stuff. Don't rewind, Paul. Don't rewind. Don't rewind for your own good. Okay, I think I got everything. We're just going to flow this thing into place. Can I throw a boulder through your window? You have to vote for me first. We had a deal, mofo. I do have 2 caps I gotta put there, don't I? Might as well flow this stuff into place. Okay. Folks are killing me all up watching and asking if he is okay. I need to find a board that actually has those capacitors left on it. We're going to be selling these little capacitor books and resistor books soon. I'm excited to get them in. Very excited. That is really shitty looking, but it'll be fine. Is it AOC turned Amazon away? Yeah, that's another thing when it comes to the politics stuff. So Queens is overcrowded. You know, lots of housing needs to be built. If housing isn't built, then there's going to be a lot of increased rent and a lot of pissed off people that don't want Amazon to show up because they don't want their $1,500 apartments becoming $4,000 apartments. So do you have Amazon there? Do you have them move somewhere else? I don't know. I'd rather be the person building the houses than the person arguing whether Amazon should show up. And if you, because I mean, again, I could be. This should just be me being ridiculous now, but just humor me for a second. If all of the people that were holding signs saying, you know, no Jeff Bezos here, blah blah blah, or all the people who were holding signs saying, yes, bring Jeff Bezos here, if all of those individuals actually got together, and like let's say New York were not absolutely regulated up the ass to the point where the only buildings that are legal are the ones that were made 100 years ago, back before the regulations that are falling apart to begin with. If all those people got together and had a little bit of skill, because you know people thought that learning to code was not the only thing that was important in fucking society. Imagine if all those people holding all those signs and all those raging and all those political debaters got together, got their hammer, got their toolkit, and decided to just start building housing. Because then it wouldn't really matter anymore. Okay, more people moved in. You have more space for them. More space, more people, rent stays the same. I don't know. Like with it, like I get why people argue, but with the amount of time that people spend arguing, you could actually just fix the problem. I mean, the main reason that the average people in that area were pissed off is, and I understand it, I'm not saying that I agree with how it went down, is people are just sick and tired of their $2,000 or their $1,000 apartment becoming a $4,500 one because of supply and demand. When some large company moves in, that's going to hire people from outside that you're never going to work at. A lot of people in New York have just had enough of that shit. So I understand the visceral reaction that they had. It doesn't matter if there's another. It doesn't matter if another store opens up in the area. It doesn't matter if there are more jobs created from stores or burrito places or laundromats and all that stuff opening up in the area. If that area is now going to have its cheapest apartment at $4,000 to $5,000 a month, because even if you get one of those jobs, the rent in the area is going to be less than your more than your salary. People probably look at Seattle and San Francisco and they're just like, hell no, not us. Hell no, not us. You can't build housing in New York. Too much graft money needed for you. Yeah, exactly. That's a big argument of mine. That's something I agree with you on. Okay, so first thing we're going to do here is we've got everything soldered back on. Just about. And we've cleaned up the things that were bridged, shorted. I'm also going to take a look down the area and see if any of the stuff, and there's any surprise solder balls anywhere. Like, why is there a surprise solder ball in this chip that scares the hell out of me? So we are going to, I don't know if there's messes under there. Let's just, I'm going to reflow just because it feels good to reflow things. Especially when I know Paul is watching. Especially when I can use a non-Paul amount of flux. I would not make a good mayor for the person saying that. I appreciate it, but no, I'd be pretty awful. That's the other thing. It's easy for somebody to say, I think something should be like this, when you're not actually sitting in the chair and faced with the responsibility of, or the consequences of your actions. When you're actually sitting in the chair and you have all the information, it would be easy for me to say, I think the world should be like this. And then you wind up realizing why the world can't be like that once you're actually in the seat and you're in the chair. That'd make a terrible politician. My grandpa was kind of like this too. So when he lived in the South Bronx, and in the South Bronx throughout the 80s was not a very nice place. And there were a lot of abandoned houses. So what he used to do to get rid of his stress from the day, or just to work on it when he had to work out things that were bothering him, because my grandpa had a lot of things to deal with. He was dealing with a mentally ill family member back when it was really expensive to deal with that because you didn't have all the treatments available today. So he would go into these abandoned houses and fix them up. And I remember there was this one time where he was coming home from work, and there were 12 people at the end of the block that looked at him and said, and somebody said, "Get him!" And my grandpa went to turn around, and there was a bunch of other people. I imagine they were all from the same gang. And he just says to himself, "All right, I give up. I'm done for." He carried this nightstick on him that he used a lot, that he had forged himself. He was a machinist for a brewery. And everybody, he just figured that he was screwed. That he was going to get robbed, shit kicked out of him, all that. And then one of the people said, "Hey, that's Mr. Jack. He's cool. You'd stop that." From one of the gangs. And then everybody shook his hand and they said, "Well, why is he cool?" And this, in the house that they were drinking beer in, while they were supposed to be in school, was actually a house that he had fixed up, or an apartment building or something that he had fixed up. So he just liked going into these old abandoned buildings, and he didn't argue one way or the other. He wasn't and he would also wind up talking to the kids who were in these spaces, who were doing that. He's not saying you shouldn't drink, go back to school, blah blah blah, But he would just have conversations with them, and as time would go on, they would say, huh, maybe selling crack is not the best way to spend my time. Maybe drinking in the middle of the day is not the best way to spend my time. It's that same concept of instead of advocating for how spending my life trying to tell other people what to do, I'm just going to add to the resources that already exist. I think that rubbed off on me, even though he died when I was 2 years old. And he really loved he was very proud of the renovations that he had done on some of these buildings and houses, from what I hear. He was really proud of his work. And he was happy that the kids would have a place, because he would figure, okay, they're not exactly doing great things, these kids, but at the very least, if they're hanging out in this house because their home life isn't great, if they're hanging out in some shitbox that I, fixed up, they're not on the street, and that's better than nothing. Okay. At this point, we got a nice Paul amount of flux in this board. I think you'd make a great politician. Nah, I'd be a fucking shit politician. Nope. I've said way too many things I shouldn't have said. I have way too many opinions I shouldn't have. That would be very bad. Okay, so... Okay. As you can see, we do have fan spin. But fan spin does not mean that it's fixed. We're going to test it and see if we have image. Now, usually I would think I'm good, that I have image, that most likely I fixed my problem and I'm good. But what somebody did here is they took their cock and they shoved their cock right up the ass of the video circuit. And they made sure to keep it in there and just, they took it out. They decided, I'm just going to put a knife in there too. Let me just... Which is mean, because this MacBook never asked for that. You shouldn't abuse a MacBook just because it was born as a MacBook. You should not hate something for what it is born as. Hate something for the choices that it makes. Hate a person or a computer for what it chooses in its life. Do not hate for what somebody is born as. This did not choose to be born in 820-3332. I'm sure that if it had a choice, this would much rather be inside of a ThinkPad P50 that is never going to have GPU issues, that could mine Litecoin for years on end just fine, that has liquid resistance everywhere. But it's not. It's a MacBook. And I know it's not asking for a ThinkPad roll cage, but can you make it so that the board doesn't flex inside the case? It didn't ask to be born this way. There's no reason to ass rape the board just because it was born a MacBook. That's fucking cruel. And shame on you for doing that. Now, I'm going to drink a little bit more of my kombucha, and then we're going to see how this thing works. And notice the clicking went away. I'm kind of curious what was actually making the clicking noise. If there are any engineers that are actually watching this far that haven't just tossed it out from... Please take my free super chat, says Toby. Thank you. Ryan says you couldn't be any worse than what is sitting in the White House right now. Hey, you never know. I could be. I would definitely support the right for this MacBook to transition to a ThinkPad. And if I were elected, if you elect me as the mayor of New York, I will ensure that every single MacBook has the right to transition to the motherboard of its chosen identity, as long as it's not a MacBook on the house. Free. They love using that word here. All right. We'll try. Free transitions from Apple to ThinkPad.
You know, while I'm on the subject of that, I really find it interesting that the congresswoman from around my district, the Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez lady, let's ground every single airplane. Let's just destroy the system that people use to get around the country. Let's focus on that before we focus on making electric bikes legal for food delivery. Let's say she actually got what she wanted. Let's say that ridiculous fucking bill actually passed. That ridiculous god-awful shit. All of that could have passed, and I still can't ride my electric bicycle without being afraid of getting arrested. Hysterical. Absolutely hysterical. I love it. I love it. The ridiculousness of modern politics. We're going to ground every airplane in existence before we allow an electric bicycle to go 20.1 miles per hour on Lewis's trip to work. It's hysterical. Man, she could have got my vote. Fuck free college. Free Bafang. Free Bafang for every tax-paying resident of New York City. Man, I would have voted for her. You know what? I wouldn't have even been salty about grounding all the air traffic either. Yeah, fuck it. Get rid of airplanes. Who needs airplanes? Get rid of them. Bafang. You offer free Bafangs to everybody? You got my vote. I need to get some alcohol so I can clean this stuff up. But I don't know where the alcohol has moved to. It used to be in one of these bins over here, but I can't find it. Maybe that's what I could run on if I wanted to get elected. Free Bafangs. A free Bafang for you. A free Bafang for you. I think a free Bafang is far more useful than a free college. You can listen to an audiobook or a podcast on while you're on the Bafang that will likely teach you more than what you'll learn from modern college. Okay, I give up. It looks like we're out of alcohol. Aha, there's one left. So I'm going to have to remember to buy more at the end of the stream. I'll probably forget, but I got to buy myself a nice pack of 99% alcohol. I want a free Bafang. Bafangs are a human right. A BBS HD that's been modified to 60 amps is a human right. The ability to have 60 amps without having to depot the controller of a BBS HD is a human right. That would be human right. Yes, I do read Twitch, Lord Thought, but every time I read Twitch, it's somebody complaining about me not reading it, so I stopped reading it. The coils used in power conversion can click or wind if there's some sort of intermittent problem, so the coil would be doing it. Please be fair. Risk of death is higher for airplanes than electric bikes. Risk of death is higher for airplanes. Is it? I honestly don't know. Guess it depends which. I don't know, I'll take my Bafang over that Boeing any day. Where did I put my Q-tips? Ah, the T-board's on top of the Q-tips. Okay, so we have liftoff. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of Bafang. That's freedom. You can't say you're truly free in America if you don't have a Bafang that goes 19.99999 miles per hour. And you can't say that you're free until you turn that throttle and you hit 20.1 miles an hour. At the moment where I could turn that throttle and I see 20.1 miles an hour on my Bafang, I will know that I'm a free man. Okay, do we get a picture, or is it destroyed? I'm looking for a question mark folder, because I didn't plug an SSD in. So we're just going to wait and see if this boots into a question mark folder while I read the chat. Ah, crap, I unplugged it. Whoops. MagSafe has a piece of dirt on it that's not allowing it to seat properly. Did you read the bill? I didn't see anything to ground all the planes. You get my point. It's 12:55 at night, man. We're clearly in it for the lulz at this point. You're missing the overall point. The thing that I find silly is that while everybody is... The point here that I'm trying to get at is that while the world is losing its mind over climate change, in almost every single area, in every single municipality where the local politicians lose their shit over climate change, for every one of those municipalities, I will show you a municipality where riding a Bafang at 20.1 miles is completely illegal. And if you show me any municipality or area where everybody's a climate change denier, I will. For every one of those you show me, I will show you a place where riding your Bafang at whatever speed you want, with or without pedal assist, with or without 750 watt limit, with or without a throttle, is totally legal. I don't know. It pisses me off that the areas that claim to care the most about climate change do the least when something shows up that actually does something. Can you imagine? Because here's the thing. Let's say when it comes to... By the way, as you can see, we get a question mark on the screen. I'm just going to turn off the light so it's easy for you to see that. Look at this. See that question mark folder? So this wasn't turning on. This was not turning on because somebody decided that they were going to try to reflow U8900 with I don't know what they used. It probably wasn't a soldering iron. But it works now. So we put everything back into place, wiped everything clean, and now not only do we have GPU we have it turning on, but we also have GPU vCore. So this U8900 we were able to salvage. The last U8900 I was not able to salvage. I did a video of that recently. I couldn't salvage that because the board was bent, there was long screwed, layers were coming up off of the board, and I actually have to apologize to the technician who worked on that because right after I did that video, very funny, the user who sent it to me said, "Oh yeah, I put it back together myself and maybe I damaged all that stuff." Like, thanks for the honesty. Thanks for the honesty, bro. But like after I do the effing video. But this is why I don't work on pre-damaged shit. I'm just never trust it. There's no honesty in it, and there's often no money in it. But I digress. So going back to the bike thing. Let's say when it comes to veganism, I would not try to convert somebody by saying the animals and the rights and the oppression of the animals and the cruelty to the animals. No, I'm going to take them to my favorite burrito space, which actually just recently closed. It makes me sick, with a nice set of carrot habanero hot sauce and say, try this. If this is not the best burrito in the world, I will pay for your food for the rest of your life. They try that burrito and they're like, holy wow. And they're cumming their pants over how amazing it tastes. That's what you do. So I wouldn't try to convince people to be more climate conscious by saying, the world, 100 years from now, it's going to be a degree hotter, blah. What I would do is I would say, okay, you know how you sit in traffic and you pay $800 a month for car insurance and you sit in traffic and it takes you 40 minutes to get to work? What if it took you 20 minutes to get to work, you didn't sit in traffic, and you paid way less money? Huh. Maybe I'm being an idiot. Because, I am climate conscious. I have this store, every light in the store is an LED light. I've used LED lights exclusively personally in business since 2010. I don't own a car. I'm mostly vegan, a little bit vegetarian. I don't consume a lot of, I very rarely, if ever, fly. Don't drive. I mean, my carbon footprint is fairly low. But when it comes to the bike, let's just be clear. It's not. I didn't get the Bafang saying I'm going to save the earth. I got that thing saying, man, this is cool. I cut half of the time off my commute. I never have to worry about the fucking L train or the G train not showing up again. I'll take it. Yeah. You kind of convince people to do. It's not based on how it's helping others. It's how it's helping themselves. I didn't get any details on my repair. I was curious what was actually broken my repair. I whispered you a ticket, just curious. Okay, let's see what's going on with yours. But the thing is, you can't be mad at me. You're going to be getting midnight customer service at this point. Not, shit, where do you find Whispers? Let me see. Where is Whispers? Vote for burrito. Where the hell did that tick? Okay, dismantle. I'm going to see. Can I whisper you a message? I didn't see a whisper, so I'm going to ask for ticket number. Okay, what is ticket number? Now, dismantle, I'm going to give you your status. I'm going to give you your status update, but, again, you're getting 1 a.m. off business hours customer service. You can't be mad if I read the ticket notes as they're in there. Because usually we filter all status updates through Steve, so Steve converts tech or Paul speak into something that's not going to get our store shot up. Okay, here we go. Let's see, what is wrong with yours? I'll take a look at yours right now, actually, if it's a one that I can do. If it's something, let's see what we got here. Okay. Huh? It says this is strange. This says resolved. It says reassembled on Friday at 2:48, and then there's an email that says that it was shipped out on April 19th, a Friday, 4:51 p.m. So at 4:51 p.m. we sent the tracking number, and if USPS picked up today, it should be picked up. Let's see, do we fix this or fuck it up? Unit won't. Let's see. Hey, has been placed on Paul's desk for an easy C7771. Hopefully Paul doesn't check the notes because this one might be no fix since customer attempted repair himself. Yeah, I remember. I had Kevin put this on Paul's desk and said easy C7771. Paul, C7771 has been unfucked. Boots, runs, bad battery or problem board, problem battery connector, 250 to repair. You need a battery, sounds good. Battery, new crappy Amazon generic. I have the original, it's not worried about, blah, blah, blah. Okay, we sent the invoice. Once paid, we will ship it out. Okay, let's see. Did USPS pick this shit up? Or did they do what USPS always does? Let's see. Okay, it looks like this is scheduled to arrive April 24th, Wednesday. And I will copy. Let me see if I can whisper you the tracking number. I'm guessing it went to spam. A lot of the repair shopper tickets go to spam. I don't. Again, when I was saying about customer service here, so the notes that I have on this say from Paul, and I'll just let me. Is there a way I? Okay, let me see. Is there a way that I can only show you this without showing you the dude's phone number? Because I don't want to fuck up and show his phone number or something. Okay. Do I have any personal information on the screen? Okay, I don't think I have any personal info on the screen. So, this is the note that I have. So, Paul says it has been unfucked. Now, does that mean that something else was wrong with it? These are the notes that we leave. If this was business hours, I could walk over to Paul and say, what exactly was it that you did to this or that and the other? But since it's 1 a.m., what I can tell you is that it was unfucked. Take that for what you will. Okay. Next MacBook. Unfucked. Hey, it's better than me. It's better to be unfucked than to be fucked, you know. Someone said I would smack Paul for those notes, be snarky, but give complete info. No, mine are even worse. I'm the worst offender of this. Like, I wound up putting in note like board fixed, done. What did you do? I mean, if you want to know what I did, you can follow the pile of flux, and you'll find it. I have not set a good example there. Okay. Has anyone ever asked you to reinstall a JTAG before? It hasn't happened, but at this point, I'm this close to a hair away from 1 million subscribers. It's very clear where I stand on JTAGs. If somebody were to ask me to do that, I would respectfully decline and tell them good luck with your chargeback. Because if you're at this point and you're sending stuff to me that you expect to have a JTAG on it, you did not do your research. All right, I'm about to leave a ticket here. I'm allowed to leave a note in this one. Put that in Steve's status to call tomorrow. I gave very clear notes. I've never worked on that Lenovo Yoga for the person who asked. What's wrong with yours? Maybe we'll give it to an L. Let's see, what type of laptop is this that we're going to have an L be working on? Huh. A Lenovo Yoga convertible. Yeah, just if you have a Lenovo 910 convertible that you need repaired, just send it to 186 First Avenue, New York, New York, in 10009. Attention, Anel, that's spelled A-N-E-L. Anel does all of our random boards that we don't have schematics or parts or diagrams or testing tools for repairs. Anel's a good dude. Anel will fix your MacBook. 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 What do you think about the Samsung Galaxy Fold? I think it's completely, utterly useless to have a phone that folds. I don't think anybody asked for a phone that folds. I don't think anybody said, man, I really wish my phone were foldable. I'm damn sure that there's nobody who said, wow, Apple said that the phones are now going to be $1,000. I really wish there was a company where they would come along and say, "Hold my beer," and charge $2,000 for a phone. That's what's missing from the mobile space. I don't think that's nobody asked for it. It's not innovation, and I think I don't give a fuck about it. It seems like every time we criticize Apple for doing something bad, another company just comes along and says, "Well, we can do even worse." Great job, Samsung. Great job. Great innovation there. You've really come up with something that you found the need in society, and you met it. Good job. Who needs a removable battery? Who needs a removable battery? Why do we need another device with a removable battery? We can just make it thinner, more expensive, bigger screen. 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 Thinner, more expensive. Did any of you ask for a folding phone? Did any of you want a folding phone? Were any of you genuinely hoping that Huawei or Samsung or HTC were going to come along at the moment that Apple decided that we're going to have a phone that costs $1,000, that somebody else is going to come along and just say, $1,000, hold my beer. We're going to make a $2,000 phone that has virtually no innovation other than having another screen that you're probably not going to use. You can buy a tablet. You could buy a flagship tablet and a flagship smartphone for less money than the cost of a Samsung folding phone. Nobody wanted a folding phone. Nobody cared about a folding phone. And certainly there were not people saying, wow, you mean that there's virtually no innovation and it's going to cost twice what I paid for my last one? Damn, let me run out and get that. I think they're all running out of ideas. I think they've been running out of ideas for a long time. Why make a user replaceable battery in the phone? Why go back to making the active editions that are more durable so people have an option? Why give people options as to whether they want a large screen that is going to strain their thumb while they're going to touch the other side versus a small screen? Why give people options? Why bother about with innovation when you can just make it thinner, more expensive, and bigger screen? And then you make it thinner and then make it more expensive and then have a bigger screen. But then you make it thinner and then you make the less thinner, tinier bezel. More expensive, bigger screen. 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 I can't take this shit seriously anymore. And I can't take seriously the people that cum their pants over new phone releases seriously either. Whether it's the end users or the tech reviewers that make it sound like this shit is actually important. Is there really anything about the Samsung S10 that just, you have to have it because the S9 didn't have it and this just changes your life experience? Is there anything about the iPhone 8 that just absolutely blows you away that wasn't on the iPhone 7? Do you really care? Stop throwing your money away. Bigger screen, more expensive, bigger screen, more expensive, bigger screen, more expensive, bigger screen, smaller bezel, more expensive, bigger screen, sealed battery, no headphone jack, more expensive, sealed bezel, bigger screen, bigger screen, bigger screen, bigger screen, notches, hole punches, curved corners, bigger screen, smaller bezel. More expensive, smaller bezel, bigger screen. Bigger screen. I want the phone to be so fucking big someday that even with two hands I can't use it. That's my dream. Because it got to the point where with one hand I can't reach the other side of the phone. I want it to be so big that even if I have one hand over here and the other over here, that I still can't use this shit because together my thumbs can't make it to the middle of the screen. That's my goal. And I want that phone to be $5,000 and have no headphone jack and no audio output and no battery. The S10 costs $364. That's a price that's just about acceptable. I really hope Sony comes back with the smaller Xperia line. I'm disappointed that they went with the shitty aspect ratio, but they're the only ones left that make a phone that's 5 inches. Nobody's left making phones that are reasonably sized. For people like me that have Trump hands, nobody cares about the people who are suffering from Trump hand syndrome. Nobody cares. It's just small, bigger screen, bigger screen, bigger screen, bigger screen. I can't take any of these fucking tech reviewers seriously. I really can't. Because you're constantly how do I put this? This is going to be one of the dickest things I say all night, but you're promoting the fact, by being a tech reviewer in today's modern climate that does nothing but go over which smartphones have what features and what to buy, you're a part of promoting the fact that this actually matters. You're promoting the idea that you're promoting the fact that it's actually in some way, shape, or form worth money to spend $1,000 on a fucking phone that's virtually the same as last generation's. You know, Eli the computer guy was talking about this, and I think he makes a point. And he rarely makes a point. Or maybe he does, it just takes a long time to get to it. He rarely makes a point. No, I'm kidding. He has a lot of good points. But one of the points that Eli made that I thought was good is that one of the reasons that all of these tech reviewers on YouTube are sucking the cocks of the gadget makers is that there's really not much to get people excited about anymore. It's not. It's not like, oh, we added a front-facing camera to the phone. Wow, thank you. Oh, we doubled the battery life of the phone. Wow, thank you. Oh, we went from a screen that's 480 by 272 in resolution to over 1080p. Wow, thank you. We added LTE so that you can get 35, 40 megabit per second on your phone. Wow, thank you. You know, there's all these things that were done that were cool, but we're in the realm now of no more cool shit. It's just incremental changes. But more importantly than incremental changes, we're in the point where they're just taking away shit. Like when somebody says this phone is the next big thing, or check out this next big thing, just by saying that this phone may be the next big thing or that this matters, you're, in my opinion, misleading people into believing that this is even relevant, that people should be focusing on the next smartphone. I have no problem with people focusing on the next smartphone. I really don't. If they make the next smartphone worthwhile. If you add genuinely, really bang out features. Fucking foldable screen at $2,000, like suck my dick. Hey, get the fuck out of here with that. Oh look, we made the screen have 10 more pixels on it than that. Fuck you. Rip Linus for $2. Does Linus do phone reviews? High five. Practical Board School Return. Jessa has been running it for a long time. So if you go to iPadRehab.com and her site works, please work Jessa's site, I'm trying. You can check out here and click the training button up front. And there's Jessa. There's Jessa with a lot of makeup and a lot of heavy lighting to hide the fact that she's 3 times my age. And this is her teaching the course. She still teaches an amazing course. If you go and you're not really on her level, you will, and you have an analytical mindset, there is a lot to be learned. She's a very excellent teacher. Jessa is a much, not just a better teacher than I am, but she's a more intelligent, a smarter, and a better and more well-rounded individual than I am when it comes to this business. So there's a lot that you're going to learn from her that you wouldn't learn from me. She's very good at her job in spite of the fact that she is older than the Statue of Liberty and clearly trying to hide it with this photo. But it's a really good course, and I highly suggest that you take it if you're doing this for a living and already have customers. That's the important part. Don't take this shit if you don't already have customers. I don't like seeing people put themselves in debt when they don't have a way to immediately pay it back, or at least a pathway to pay it back. So I used to not take students if they didn't show me that they had paying business already. And there were people that would break that rule all the time, but I would try to enforce it. I switched from an LG 35 to an iPhone SE last week. Available on Apple site again. Feels nice to have a small 4-inch phone. Yeah, me too. That's something that Apple's doing right. This is like the second thing in a week that I've been saying that Apple does right. I mean, not everybody wants to deal with a phone that looks like this. Oh, look, this is my hand. This is my hand. Okay, so I'm holding the phone, right? I can't make it. I can't make it. Like it doesn't. And then if I'm holding the phone like a normal person, like what? How do I go up there? How do I go up there? How? Like okay, now I got this strap on the back of it. America, freedom units, which helps me. But even then, I can't go all the way up there. What I have to, my thumb doesn't reach. So I have to do this, curve the phone, and then do this shit. And then when I say, well, you know, it would be really nice if a company released the phone again with a normal size screen. Everybody's like, well, you just hate technology, don't you? You just hate technology. No. Fuck off. This is useless. It's not a fucking phone anymore. I wish you did online courses. Oh, come on. IQ over room temperature in my chat. I wish she did online courses. I wish Jessa Jones did online courses. Why does Jessa Jones not do online courses? Why does Jessa not do online courses? I wish Jessa Jones did online courses. I need Jessa to do an online course. I need Jessa to do an online course. I need Jessa to show me how to fix a phone. Why won't Jessa show me how to fix a brain-dead phone on the internet? Why will Jessa not show me how to fix an iPhone 10 with no touch on the internet? Why will Jessa not show me how to boot an iPhone 10 with half the board on the internet? Why is Jessa not showing me why an iPhone 8 board is dead on the internet? Like, what the fuck? Click. Fucking Google, bro. Can you even? I get that shit all the time. Lewis, what's the online course? It's like, motherfucker! Online course right here. Fuck. I lose my mind when people ask this shit. I want an online course. Yeah, because this is not enough. This is not like, what? Really? What is this? Like, because this is all this organization means nothing to you. Not sleeping randomly. X on battery icon. No trackpad. No keyboard. Sensor issue and fan running fast. No CPU vCore. No image. No USB. No light and charger. Like, kernel panics. Guess that effort means nothing to you. Thank you, by the way, Raven. I appreciate that. I get what Raven is saying when it comes to the iPhone 10. I miss my Samsung Galaxy S5, okay screen size and replaceable battery. Me too. You know, there's just not much to convince me to get a new phone. I have this LG G7, and the only reason I got this is because I destroyed my S7 after 2 years of abusing the hell out of it and servicing it myself poorly. It kind of died. So I got this because the only reason I got this is because I got this for $260 on eBay. That's as much as I'm willing to spend on any of these new smartphones, given there's no innovation. But look at this thing. I'm holding it in my hand. Now, granted, I'm 5'6", but look at this. I gotta clear all that shit. Yoink. I'm like, look at this. What am I? I'm holding the phone in my hand. That's little BlackBerry. Look at my thumb. It's like, I can't stretch all the way up there. It's impossible. How the hell now let's say I move the phone up here. All right? Now, even up here, it's uncomfortable to get my thumb over there. But once I can get my thumb over there, how am I going to touch something down there? It's miserable. So I got this little this freedom thing on the back, which gives me more freedom. See, freedom. And so at least I can do this. I can kind of curve the phone, and then I do this, and then I can hit the top. But this is not very accurate. And then I also have to like curve my hand to go down there. And the fucked up thing is that like every phone is this size now. This is the normal size. So this used to be the plus size of the phone. This is a G7 here. Now LG makes they make another phone, but it's bigger than this. This is what they consider the small option. And every company is doing this. Now, Sony has an Xperia Z. I think it's they make a small one that's about 5 inches or so, even though it has this shitty aspect resolution. But they have not officially announced or released the new version of that yet. That phone's about a year and a half old. And the only Samsung is still making phones that are like huge. All of Huawei's huge. Xiaomi phones are all this huge. The one company that has a phone that's consistently produced that actually fits my hand is Apple. Apple is the only one filling that consumer demand. And again, this is one of those things I used to talk about when I'm trying to express the positives of Apple, is that in some small sense, you may not like Apple, but at least they attempt to have taste. At least they try to put 5 seconds into thinking about what the user will experience when they sit down with their product. They may not think about whether it will last longer than a year. They may not think about whether it's affordable. They may not think about performance and benchmarks and all that, but they just think when the user sits down with our product, what's it like? And Apple, for all the shit they get, they release a big phone, but they also release a normal phone for people who are normal humans that don't take growth hormone, that want to be able to touch every section of the screen without doing this. Because I'm telling you, someday, like 2 years from now, we're going to have a phone where when I'm holding it like this, neither of my thumbs will be able to make it to the middle of the screen. Because look at this. We're very close to that point already. So without hyperextending my thumbs, we're very close to the point where 2 fingers is not going to work. And I don't plan on getting surgery to get my fingers extended or anything because of these stupid trends. I think it's really nice that Apple has decided to keep putting out a phone that actually fits into the hands of people that are not 7 foot tall. And I don't want to always use both hands. I use my phone with one hand very often. I don't want to do this. What if I'm carrying a grocery bag? What if I have something in my hand? What if I'm just watching porn and I need to use this hand for something else? Like, you didn't think of all these things. You should have thought of all those things. User experience. Anyway. I mean, ask Pornhub.com for their mobile analytics. There's a lot of people that need to use their hand for something else while they're holding their phone. Good reasons. I'm not pissed off at the fact that they make a big phone. I'm pissed off at the fact that they got rid of the option for a reasonable one. Make as many freaks of nature as you want. Just leave me one for myself. Okay. What? So I think next is another MacBook that needs to be fixed.
Ah. Test. Okay. Audio sync. Here we have a MacBook that needs to be fixed. This is an A1990, liquid damaged, without power. Let's open up this MacBook and see what's going on with it. Maybe it'll be an easy one that was picked at random. 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 You're planning out to sleep today. I slept for 45 minutes and I filmed it. I don't need more sleep than that. Okay, so we are going to open this thing up. Thank you, HipuPix. I appreciate that. It's very kind of you. I see rice. Rice does not fix MacBooks. MacBooks don't eat rice. You know what I don't understand? The same people that will say it's wrong for me to feed my cat vegan cat food because cats are natural carnivores will feed their MacBooks rice. Kitties do not eat vegan cat food. Kitties do not eat vegetables. And MacBooks don't eat rice. MacBooks actually don't eat at all. And just because you gave it a drink does not mean that you then have to feed it afterwards as well. You gave it a drink. That's fine. Don't make it worse by trying to feed it now. That's just being mean. If you're going to choose to give your MacBook food or a drink, I would say feeding it is much better than giving it something to drink. But still, if you spilled something on it, then don't give it something to eat. You're doing the wrong thing, because what I learned when it comes to getting drunk is you should eat something beforehand. If you eat beforehand, before you get drunk, then you most likely will not be as tipsy. But if you eat after you get drunk, then you'll puke and throw up. So with the MacBook, if you want to do this efficiently, you should put food in it first and then spill something on it. But what most people do is they spill something on it, they drink, and then they eat afterwards. They may have the MacBook eat afterwards. It's the same irresponsibility when it comes to dealing with one's own the results of their drunkenness. Now, as you can see here, this is a very freshly wet MacBook. We have liquid on the heatsink area, liquid over here, battery. This is too fresh to have any corrosion, and this board is too fresh to have any schematics or board views. This is an 820-01041-A. And if anybody has a schematic or a board view for an 820-01041-A, don't send it to lewis@rossmangroup.com. Do not send it to LOUIS@ROSSMANNGROUP.com. Don't send it. I mean, if you do email, your anonymity will be completely protected. The email will be deleted the moment that the schematic and board view is downloaded, and you will not be reported to any authority. Just saying, don't email me a schematic or a board view. Don't you dare. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to see what's happening with it. What state are we in? So I'm going to take my USB-C amp meter and my charger here. I'm going to unplug the battery from the board.
All right, so this is interesting. Battery looks like it's seen better days. Yeah, this looks like it's definitely seen better days. So the battery is now unplugged from the board. I'm going to plug it in, and we're going to see how many amps this thing takes. So we're at 5 volts, 100 milliamps. Now we're at 20 volts and 0 amps. So 20 volts, 0 amps. This is not even... And we're looping back and forth between 0 to 200 milliamps. Somebody outside just yelled, "Fuck you." They're singing the song of New York. Phil, I don't have an answer for you to that question, but I think you can answer the question for yourself, if you think. What are you doing fixing boards at 1:30 in the morning? I am attempting to make some money to justify and pay for this stupid amount of money I have spent on new streaming stuff, like another internet connection, and a lens, and computer stuff. So I fix, and then I fix, and then I fix some more. Sending some love for Pepe and more freedom straps. Thank you very much, Devin. Okay, we're going to take this off. That too, Chuck. That too. Oh my Jesus. So many little screws. I have not purchased the secret foldable phone. I want to say I can't believe they would default a quantity of 1 for something that has 2 ports, but I've been alive too long. Yes, they did default to 1 for an item that has 2 ports. Am I an idiot for not double checking? Yes. Am I also an idiot for purchasing that item from a small business rather than purchasing it from Amazon, where I would have saved some money, gotten faster shipping? Yes. I sure am. I went the route of purchasing from the small business that is targeting a specific niche that's supposed to be able to make things a little easier, and I got fucked. I paid $50 for express shipping on something I won't be able to put together until later, because this genius website defaults to 1 fucking fitting. This is hysterical. Everything on this website defaults to 1 fitting. It was a learning experience. Look at this. I'm a fucking moron. Fittings choice. Select fittings. I select my fitting. It defaults to 1, but it has 2 ports. I thought that this meant that I was getting 2. I didn't see the little quantity box. I didn't see that. Also, that quantity box is really close to this quantity box. I mean, technically, yeah, this is for that. But it's close enough to this that when I'm browsing quickly, I just figured, oh, okay, I'm buying 1 water block. There's no way this company is so fucking stupid that they're going to assume that somebody who's buying a water block or a radiator, where that has 2 ports, when they say, I would like the fittings for that, let's default it to 1. There's no way they're that fucking stupid. There's no way they hate their customers that much. Oh, wait, never mind. All right, I'm still salty. Am I an idiot? Yes, but I'm salty. I deal with enough ridiculous customer shit every day that I'm allowed to be a little salty about this. I have enough people say, hey, I know I paid for free shipping, but the item got here in 3 days instead of 2. I would like a partial refund. Yeah, I know that I bought an LP8550 instead of a TriStar and soldered it on, but that's your fault. I get a lot of ridiculous shit really ridiculous customer service shit every day. At some point, Lewis is allowed to be a dumbass customer. At some point, Lewis is allowed to be a salty customer. When does Lewis allow to be a salty customer? Yeah, if this website sold cars, if they were a dealership, it would default to 3 wheels for your car. If performance PCs sold bicycle parts, they would default to one handle on the handlebar. Salty. I'm genuinely salty over that. I am very salty. Super salty. I hope my website never does shit like that. Because ever since I went through this crap, after doing this, I became very sensitive to whether or not my website has any retarded shit like this on it. Like, let's see, display caption. This is not cheap either. This is, let's see. Yeah, so water block, $95, radiator, $94, tubing, $22, thermal paste, $18, radiator gaskets, $3, coolant, $32, gasket, $5, reservoir, $75, pump, $95, thing for the pump, $5, shipping and handling, $44. I actually gave them $3 fucking to ship the order same day, just for for rush fee. It's like, I want to make sure that it taught me something, because I want to actually go through my website and make sure whether you're buying a cleaner that you never have this fucking experience. So on my site, let me just show you what my site here. Even though this site is a piece of shit, so ultrasonic cleaners over here. So this used to have a section called recommended and normal ultrasonic cleaners. Yeah, see where it says recommended ultrasonic cleaners? And the recommended ones, it comes with the fucking basket. Because I don't want somebody to buy this shit and not get the basket if they need the basket. We used to sell the ones without the basket, but even when we sold the ones without the basket, it would say in large red letters when you clicked it, this does not have a basket that you need. Let's see if it still says that in here. This includes the required mesh basket. What is the point of it? Why is it required? And if you were buying one without a mesh basket, this would actually be in red letters at the top saying don't buy this. But I changed the site a little bit so we don't actually even sell it without that anymore, just because I know that my end users are going to be people who are probably a repair shop, probably don't have a cleaner already. It's not going to be a hospital where they have a room full of their own baskets. So I figure I know my customer base. I know that this is probably what they're going to need. I know this is what they're looking for. Let me supply that to them. Or the same thing with a Quick. Like, I'm not going to supply a Quick without the fucking nozzles to it. So if you buy a Quick, you're going to get the nozzles with the station. You have the voltage choices over here, but you're not going to buy a quick and like I'm not going to have a little hidden checkbox for somewhere like down here for buying the nozzles. You're buying a station, you probably need nozzles, so on and so forth. So it made me much more sensitive to how my website is, because what if I've missed stuff like that? Like, what if my website is as fucking stupid as this horseshit over here? I hope that my website never does this shit to people. I really do. If my website did this shit to people, I would be fucking ashamed. Like, Quanta, get the fuck out of here. It does this with everything, too. If you buy a radiator, it defaults to 1. Again, I'm an idiot. I'm a fucking moron because I didn't read through everything. I'm a fucking moron because I assumed that the default was that for something that has two slots, that you give me 2 things. But what are you going to say? What are you going to do? Very salty. Raging. Rage and salt. Dry roasted macadamias with sea salt. Usually I eat the non-salted nuts. I usually have these non-salted walnuts at my desk, but today we have the dry roasted macadamias with sea salt. Sea salt, water cooling salt, e-commerce salt, all types of salt. So much salt. Okay, what nonsense is holding this in that I forgot to remove? Oh, that's just the liquid holding it in. Mikey is our shipping guy. He's in the chat as New York Made TV, and Mikey said he is going to start shipping ultrasonic cleaners without handles. Yeah, just ship him with only one handle, Mikey. Ship him with only one handle. I want for April Fools from now on, every year for April Fools, I want you to like pull a performance PC and change the defaults of the website so that when you buy shit, you can't actually use it when you receive it. And here's the funny thing, because the adding that I would have in my head, I know that I have to buy fittings. I realize I have to buy fittings. But since I saw that, oh, wow, they have fittings that fit and it's already with the product, I decided let me add it. The funny thing is, had I purchased this stuff on Amazon or Newegg or some other vendor, I would have actually not, the option would not have been there, and I would have had to buy my own fittings, and I would have been fine. Oh, so much rage. Now I know what it feels like to be one of my customers. I really, but in all seriousness, I really, really hope that my website never does that to people. And if it ever does, then let me know. If there's a part of my website that you think is misleading or is going to confuse people or is going to cause people to buy shit that is incorrect because it's something that's easily looked over, please let me know. I really don't want my site to do that to people. Too effing frustrating. Store.rossmangroup.com. We care about the user experience. New York Made TV cares about your user experience. I got up and walked to the back of the store and came back, but I have no idea what I got up and walked to the back of the store for. Strange. Okay. Let's see if we get different behavior outside the computer. Perhaps something that was plugged into it is messing it up. Now, there's no schematic or board view for this, so we're going to have to guess where a lot of things are. This appears to still use CD3215s as a USB-C MUX and also to communicate with the charger and negotiate 20 volts. So since we had 20 volts on the USB-C charger, I'm going to make the assumption that PP3V3 is present. The next assumption that I'm going to make is that these machines still use PP-Bus G3 Hot to power the backlight circuit. And while I don't know where PP-Bus G3 Hot is exactly on this board, I do know that the backlight circuit is going to be here because this looks like a switching FET, diode, and a bunch of capacitors that are typically used in the backlight output circuit. And under here you have the LED driver. Now the backlight fuse, which is over here, is going to be where PP-Bus G3 Hot is. So I'm going to check and see if we have voltage on PP-Bus G3 Hot. I'd really like to fix this board without a schematic for two reasons. The first reason is that I want to show you that it is possible to really dig in on your detective work and figure out where things are, even if there's not a schematic. It may make things a lot more difficult, and especially if you have a more open-ended problem, but it is possible. And the other reason that I want to figure this out without the schematic is to send Apple a giant middle finger and fuck you, which is, admittedly, one of the very fun and joyful things in life. So we have 12.6 volts at our PP bus. So PP bus is there, and PP3V3 G3 Hot is there. But we're not getting any power. So let's browse around this board a little and see if there's anything that looks obviously destroyed. Because this is a fresh spill. That's the ISL 9240. I still need to find a source to get those and known good ones that will actually work in the MacBook. Okay, we have nastiness up here, but that's not actually corrosion. That's just coffee or something. And that's not the type of stuff that I really care about. It's not corroded yet. It looks like fresh tea or coffee. Now if we browse around a little bit more, okay. Okay, so this thing over here, that I have no idea what it's for, but it appears to have some liquid that might have gotten under it. So here we don't have any here's a board where we don't have any specific explosion point or corrosion, but we do have this sticky stuff. Now, even though the sticky stuff is not going to directly conduct electricity, a lot of the times when you have spills like this, with this type of sticky stuff on them, it's going to cause, like some capacitive crosstalk kind of issues. Not, this is touching when it's not supposed to be, but signals are going to get crisscrossed and things of that nature. So, and also there's no corrosion. So this is actually a really good candidate to be ultrasonically cleaned. And because if we ultrasonically clean it, it might just work again. Because the ultrasonic is going to get under all the chips that have this issue going on with them. And depending on whether or not Anel remembered to turn off the ultrasonic cleaner when he left the store, I may actually be able to ultrasonically clean this now if the cleaner is hot. And this is a win-win situation here, because if the ultrasonic cleaner is not turned off, actually, if it is turned off, he did a good job. If it's not turned off, well, then I get to fix the board and also fire him. So this would be a pretty cool win-win situation here. Let's take a look at the screen connector as well. Let's see what we got under there. Yes, I'm going to take a look, and we're going to see if they remembered to turn off the ultrasonic cleaner before leaving today. Oh boy. Firing. Fuck. Okay, he remembered to turn the ultrasonic off, which means that I can't really clean this board right now. So we're going to put this board aside, and we're going to work on it tomorrow. I think this is a great time to end the stream. I actually was hoping to get home a little earlier so that I could do some editing. Now all the stuff I've done over the past few days I have to edit and put together. That's going to take a while. And since everybody is off for Easter tomorrow, the only person that's going to be here for Easter is me. So I got to get a paintball gun in case people start showing up to see me. Okay, so this I'm just going to put aside right here, and we're going to work on this more tomorrow. This does need the ultrasonic to get warm before I can really do much with it. And, yep. So, that's it for today, and as always, I hope that you learned something. Maybe you did. Maybe you didn't. Maybe you did. And if you don't know, now you know. If you don't know, now you know. I want to catch Kevin on recording finishing that sentence. You take the day off, you don't want to be the richest man in the graveyard. Once I'm dead, I won't have to care about money anymore. There'll be no more rent left to pay. I will see you all later.